Welcome back to Main Believers. My name is William. This is part 4 of our series on morality and why I believe it proves the existence of God. So today we are discussing our final 2 non-theistic explanations for the existence of a moral standard. We've already looked at why morality is objective and not subjective, and why it can't be explained by merely natural processes or grounded in the evolutionary progression. But we haven't looked at 2 less common explanations for morality. And these are as follows. The first is that morality is just an abstract, absolute truth, like the principles of mathematics. And the second explanation for morality is that it's just the reasonable thing to do that humans have concluded should be done. All right, so let's dive into the first explanation for morality. This is one that might seem a little confusing at first, but has some validity to it. So math, as we know it, the principles of mathematics are abstract, meaning they don't rely on the physical world to exist, and they're absolute in nature, meaning they don't change, no matter what you feel about them. And that's the same with morality. Morality doesn't require the physical world to exist, and it's absolute, meaning there is a perfect moral standard. It's objective in nature. But morality and math really aren't the same if we look past the surface similarities that they have. You see, what is the purpose of math? Well, math tells us what is. We can use math to say that if I have 2 apples and then I get 2 more apples, well, then I'll have 4 apples. It's really just a tool that we use to better understand the physical universe, to better understand the realities of this world. But morality is something that tells us what should be and should not be. It's something that tells us what we should look for in this world, what we should strive towards in this world, and what we should avoid or not strive towards. There's also another key distinction between morality and math, and that's how do we conclude that they exist? Well, math, we conclude that the principles of mathematics exist because we see certain consistent patterns reoccurring throughout the natural world. We see that if you have 2 physical objects and 2 physical objects, you have then 4 physical objects. We see the patterns in the world, and then we conclude that there's a law or a reason or a standard behind those patterns. But we can't say the same for morality. You see, morality isn't ever perfected in this world. Murder still happens every day. Sexual assault still happens every day. And yet we still say that these things should be always wrong, even though they're not. This is important, and it really gets back to the is-ought dilemma that we talked about in our last video. You see, math is an observation of what is, and so are all the other natural laws of this world, such as gravity. But morality is an observation of what should be and what should not be, despite the fact that it isn't perfectly enacted. And so while we can explain math as just a constant, an abstract, absolute constant of the universe that exists, whether the physical is here or not, we can't explain morality in really the same way. You see, morality is different. It doesn't exist in a specific way within the physical world. And yet it's this yearning within all of us for the world to be a certain way. All right. So the second non-theistic explanation for objective morality that we'll be looking at today is that what we call moral or good is just the reasonable thing to do. This one is honestly a little hard to grapple with. It's a little hard to understand, and it's especially hard in 3 minutes, but I'm going to do my best. So I think the first thing I would say is, what do you mean by reasonable? That reason seems to mean so many different things to so many different people. I don't think that reason is the same thing as what the dictionary says it is, that it's just the rational or logical thing to do. I think when most of us say that murder is unreasonable, we're appealing to morals and not logic. I think reason as we use it is really just a combination of morality and rationality, and just an explanation or a articulation of what we feel should be done and what we feel shouldn't be done. It's really an articulation of the moral standard. We can't say that reason or logical thinking themselves are the moral standard, because what's rational or what clicks in our mind isn't always what's virtuous, so it can't be the standard. We also can't say that rationality or reasonability is morality itself, because it's really, there's no definition of reason. In fact, if you were trying to define reason, you'd probably end up appealing to morality. Because if I feel reasonably that it's unreasonable to murder someone and you say it's reasonable, well, then it's just two subjective opinions conflicting against each other. And in order to prove absolutely that murder is wrong, you would appeal to a moral standard. Let me give a brief illustration to try to help you guys understand this concept. What do we use a compass for? Well, we use a compass to find the direction true north. But the compass isn't true north itself, and neither is it the magnetic field that causes the needle to point towards true north. The compass can also be wrong depending on the area where you use it or whether or not it's calibrated or broken. It's kind of the same with reason. Reason can help us point towards what's moral. We say things are reasonable, and they're often the moral act. But it's not morality itself, and it's also not the moral standard. In fact, I would posit it's a combination of rationality and morality and experience that we just say we should do this or we shouldn't do that. And you still need an absolute standard in which to ground what we call morality. All right, guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. I hope it made sense. Just as a quick recap, math and morality, while they do have some similarities, are not the same. And this goes the same for other abstract absolute principles or observable laws in nature. You see, math and the law of gravitational force are statements about what is, while morality is a statement about what should be. And we both conclude that they exist through different means. We observe math and consistent patterns in nature and conclude that the laws of mathematics exist. But we conclude that the objective moral law exists despite the fact that we don't see it consistently enacted in this world. Also, morality can't really be defined as just the reasonable thing to do because there really isn't a consistent definition for reason. And if you were trying to say why something is unreasonable or reasonable, you'd ultimately end up appealing to an objective standard, the standard of morality. So if you disagree with me or you have a question, something that didn't make sense, please feel free to put it in the comment section. I just request that you keep it polite and concise so that when I do my video at the end of the month addressing the comment section, I don't have to cut out parts of your question or argument. All right, guys, I will see you Tuesday where we are trying to wrap up the series with a video where I discuss why I believe God, or the existence of a mind behind the universe, is the only plausible solution or foundation for the existence of objective moral right and wrong. See you guys later.